second leg's been going now over in the Europa Conference League. That's right, as qualifying is getting ever so closer to that illustrious league phase. Who will, of course, make that transition? Who, of course, will go home? We're going to get into it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at the second legs. I think it's the second round of qualifying, may even be the third round. I don't even bloody know, but of course we're going to get into it, all of it in just 1 second. If you're new, where you been, smash your subscribe. You want some shop for Blackburn Rovers, Conference League, World Football. We're all here under one Ruski. That's right, we're back in bloody HD to take a look at the illustrious second legs. Of course, this is the final hurdle for some. And when I say that, I mean that on the negative. They could be crashing out of European football this coming campaign. Who am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in just 1 second. Big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are, but let's get into it and take a look at the current situation. That is this, guys. We're hopping on over and having a look at what went on in those first legs. And this is it, of course. Recapping the results. On the left-hand side will be my predictions. On the right-hand side will be the scorelines. I think I did pretty good myself. If you were a betting man and you kind of followed my instructions, you might made a couple of quid. So kicking it all off, KI Clashfitch against Noman Grondo with a 1-0 win. Guess what? It was a 2-0 win. Not too shabby there. Masamai, 2-0 winners over Vitus. That was my prediction. It was a 3-2 scoreline for the host. Meanwhile, Limassol and AIK Athens did duke it out to a 2-2 draw. I went with a 1-1 scoreline myself. Meanwhile, Araz-Naxçıvan against Omonia Nikosia ended up with a 4-0 win for Nikosia. Did go with a 2-1 win. Rosenborg on the flip side, though, they did only get a draw against Hammarby in their own backyard, so we got that one a little bit wrong. Meanwhile, KNU Salgris up against Arda Sardalzi ended up in a 1-0 scoreline the other way. Banak Ostrava also put up a bit of a scoreline, 7 goals in against Austria Vienna, 4-3 in their own backyard. I did go with a home win on that one. Riga did pick up a monster 3-0 win over Beitar Jerusalem. I went the other way. İstanbul, Başakşehir, 3-1 away wins against Viking. I went with a 2-1 win, so not too shabby. Meanwhile, Salina did beat Győri 2-1 there. I went with a 2-0 win myself. Silkeborg did lose to Jagiellonian Brăila. I went with a draw on that one. It was a 1-0 win. Lipid Lejana also could only draw with Egneta Razinia. I went with a 3-0 win myself. The Differdange did just lose 3-2 to Levadia. I went with a 2-2 scoreline. And Viking with a 2-1 win over Linfield, got that one spot on. And Sparta did beat Ararat-Armenia 4-1. I went with a 2-1. Not too shabby by me, I must say. Meanwhile, AZ Alkmaar picked up a 3-0 win over Vaduz, got that one spot on. Anderlecht did beat the Sheriff, also 3-0. I went with a 3-1 win myself. Polissya, they beat Paksi 3-0. I went with a score draw there. Levski Sofia 1-0 winners over Sabah. I went with a 2-0 win. Lausanne out of Switzerland beat Astana, a 3-1 win. I went with a 2-0 win. Lugano did get smashed by Silesia in their own backyard, 5-0. I think that was correct. Meanwhile, Balkani beat Shamrock Rovers. Can they get through to the next stage? We'll see. University Krakow with a 3-0 win of Spartak Trnava. I went with a 2-0 win. Viking Reykjavik, they did beat Brodomir with a massive 3-0 win. Besiktas with a 4-1 win over St. Patrick's Athletic. With Rapid Vienna and Dundee United duking out to a 2-2 scoreline. Hajduk Split beating Dynamo City 2-1 on with a 2-0 win. Larn losing at home to Santa Clara. A bit of an upset there. Rakow Krushkovia did lose to Maccabi Haifa. Partizan, surprise, surprise, got a massive win over Hibs. Sorry, it's Hibs got a massive win over Partizan. Goodness gracious me. All right, folks, those were the first legs. Now is, of course, the second legs. And how we do it here, of course, we're going to run through the scorelines for those second legs, and then I'll give you the aggregate scorelines just in case you can't keep up with the mathematics just like me. So we're going to start with Noman Grondo. That is right. We're going to kick it all off as they take on a Clashfitch. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky for me to try and find them in the older data system here. Of course, they played each other just the one time. It was that reverse fixture. Coming into this, Grondo on the back of 75% form in all competitions. Clashfitch on 92% form for them. Clashfitch pick up a 7-0 win over B68 in their domestic league. Grondo focusing on Gomel tonight, or tomorrow actually, depending on when this video goes out. And I'm sure they're going to be focusing on that one. Got no odds again for a lot of these games. And of course, it's all, again, we're going to go through a lot of these, so they're going to be a lot of quick fire ones. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 scoreline here, which, of course, if you know or remember the first leg, you can already decipher who will go through to the next round, of course, which is the Mega Money round. We're getting very close to the Mega Money round. Let me just do a little bit of magic here and see if I can get this up and running. There we go. Virtus against Mosamai. Let's get into that one then, shall we? Coming at you this coming 14th of August. That's right, the first leg. 3-2 winners it was from Mosamai. But they're coming into this on the back of an unbeaten streak of at least 6 matches. Might even be 7 games. Up against Vitus. They're winners in the last 3. Goodness gracious me. And they're taking on, the next match is this match. with Masama taking on Sumbru in their domestic top flight on that one as well. I'll probably expect to win that one as well coming into this. So we're going to lean towards a 2-1 win for Vud, which I think is a little bit wrong here. I might have gone this one a little bit off the money, but I think Masama still might have enough of the tank there to go through to the next round. We'll see about that. AEK Athens, they're taking on Limassol, coming at you right now over in Greece. Played each other twice in 2016. One was a friendly, the other one was the reverse fixture coming into this. But the Greeks are unbeaten in the last 6 matches up against Limassol, who are also unbeaten in the last 3 coming into this. Of course, domestic season's not yet going over in the Mediterranean, so they're all fully focused on this one. And again, I do think a bit of bounce back here. 2-0 winners for AEK Athens to get the result over their Mediterranean counterparts. Aris Limassol. Let's move on to the next one. Speaking of Cyprus, it is Nikosia taking on Araz-Naxçıvan, PVK. That's right, played each other. The reverse fixture, a convincing victory for the Cypriots on this one. They're coming into this on the back of 3 successive wins. Araz on the flip side, back-to-back games now without a win, which of course included the previous round where they took on another Mediterranean club, Ararat-Armenia, something like that. That's a mouthful. I know I got butchered in the comments about my pronunciations. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I do think the Cypriots will come out top of this one, 3-1 win to take it, and of course move them on to the next one. Then we have a Scandinavian encounter up in Sweden. Hammarby taking on Rosenborg. The first one, of course, was a 0-0 scoreline, but both sides coming into this in okay bit of form, both on 67% form for them coming into this, with Hammarby unbeaten the last 5. Rosenborg go back-to-back games without a win, just 1 defeat in the last 6. So coming at you on this one. Domestically, Swedish football is up and running. Hammarby are taking on Nordköping this coming weekend. Rosenborg fully focused on this one. They might be playing right now. I can't see any scorelines at the moment, but I'm going to go with my gut. My gut says a 2-1 win for Hammarby in their own backyard to see them progress to the next one. Let's keep it on going. We're going to go up and take a look at Arda. Arda up against, if I have them on my screen here, Arda taking on Kuno, coming at you over in Karazali. They played just the one time. The reverse fixture coming into this. The hosts are unbeaten in the last 5 matches. They won 3 on the spin up against Kano. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. But both sides calculated coming into this on 67% form. Of course, Arda taking on Lokov Plondiv this weekend in their domestic top flight. Kano taking on Sudova Malobabonji in their top flight as well. I don't know where they play their football at. Let me know if you know. Of course, you probably do know. In the comments down below, going to go with this one and 1-0 away win for Kano to pick up a result. And again, we'll see who goes through in the end. Austria Vienna, they're taking on Banek Ostrava. Let's see if we can find them bad boys. There they are, the bottom of the pile on the 14th of August. That's right, played each other twice in 2019. One was a friendly, the other was a reverse fixture. And what a game that was. 7 goals in it, 4-3 winners. It was for Ostrava. Ostrava coming into this, just 1 win in the last 6. That 1 win was that last match. Meanwhile, Austria Vienna coming into this, also on 42% form, but they've won twice at the last 6. So we'll see what comes onto this one. They're, of course, playing their Austrian football right here, right now. They're on Bundesliga action. We've got predictions on the channel, so make sure to check that out. Over the 2-1 win here for Austria Vienna to get them in the conversation for this match. We'll see if that's enough to see them go through in a second. Let's get on to the next one then, shall we? What do we have? We have Beitar Jerusalem up against Riga. That's right. This one's going to be a bit of a mountain to climb, you would think, for the hosts, of course. Losing the first leg quite convincingly, 3-0. And coming into this, Riga are unbeaten in the last 6. They've won 5 of their last 6 up against Beitar Jerusalem, who were on a good bit of form themselves. Just the 1 defeat in the last 6 now. And that was, of course, the most recent one. Let me go back to Riga's form. They're unbeaten in the last 26 matches. They could actually be a bit of a dark horse here to get to that league phase on this one. Got nothing much to say about this one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win, though, for Beitar Jerusalem. But bearing that in mind, Riga's form does look like it could be a bit of a force on this one. So maybe that might end up being a draw or something. Meanwhile, we got a Turkey here. İstanbul Başakşehir. They're going to be taking on... who they're taking on? They're taking on Viking. Let's get into this one, of course. The Turkish outfit with a home lead on the first one. Trying to find them on the old graphics here. There it is. Coming at you on the 13th of August. All on its own, that's right. Başakşehir on 92% form for them right now. They've won 5 on the spin. Unbeaten in the last 6 up against Viking, who've won 3 and lost 3 over the last 6, including the last match over when they hosted this game. Of course, Başakşehir will get their Superliga. Actually, they're probably playing right here, right now. I can't see the scoreline, but on the flip side, Viking taking on Sanford. They're expected to win that game as well. But over in Turkey, there's only going to be 1 winner here. That's going to be a 3-0 win for the hosts. Meanwhile, we're going to go to the next one. It is Győri up against AIK Solna, that's right. Of course, they're the Swedish outfit this time, coming at you over Győri, the hosts on this one. They played each other just the one time. It was a 2-1 win for the Swedes most recently, but Győri coming in is on 50% form. 1-2 lost to and drawn to over the last 6, but they've only won once, though, in the last 5. Up against AIK, just 1 loss in the last 6, unbeaten in the last 4, including 3 wins out of the last 4 matches. Coming at you, AIK will take on Djurgårdens. They're expected to just about nick that game. Győri taking on Zalgisleg in their domestic league. They're expected to just about lose that game. So it's an up and down. It's very tight between both matches domestically, but in this one, we're going to go with the 1-1 scoreline as well. So kind of put it down the middle and we'll go down to that first-legged scoreline. Jagiellonia Blasztysz taking on Silkeborg. This match over in Poland. The reverse fixture, a 1-0 win for Jagiellonia. Coming into this, they're unbeaten now in the last 4 matches. In fact, when I say unbeaten, they've won 4 on the bloody bounce. Silkeborg, though, on the flip side, just 1 win in that last 6. But they're coming into this, taking on Nordsjælland, the domestic top fight there. Jagiellonia taking on Cracovia, Kakao. They're expected to win that game as well. So both sides coming into this probably on a good bit of domestic form, but of course it all comes down to the Conference League here, and I do think Jagiellonia Blasztysz will add to that victory in that first leg and probably seal the deal with a convincing first or second-legged match. Next up we go Ljubljana, who were a disappointment in the first leg, up against Agnatia Ragazinia as they host this match. Just lost once in the last 6, up against Ljubljana, who've also just lost once in the last 6. In the reverse fixture, a 0-0 scoreline. Ljubljana host this match previously. Coming into this, Ragazania, I'm not too sure. I don't think their domestic flight starts until the 23rd of August. A little bit of Ljubljana taking on Domzali. I don't really have any odds on either of that or this game. So can they bounce back, Ljubljana, and get the victory? I don't think so. I'm going to give it to maybe a bit of a surprise here. Ignacio Rosinha taking the victory, 2-1 win. On the night, let's get into the next one then. FC Levadia taking on Differdange, coming at you out of Luxembourg. That's why Levadia unbeaten in the last 5. Differdange, of course, just 2 wins in the last 6. The reverse fixture tight, 5 goals in it. They've actually played 3 times since 2011. Of course, 1 win apiece and now 1 draw. Going to go with a home. I'm not going home victory. I'm going with another score draw there, 1-1, which of course we'll see one of the clubs through. Who is it? I'll show you in about 20 seconds here. Meanwhile, Linfield taking on Vikangor. Linfield out of Northern Ireland. Vikangor, is that out of Iceland? I don't know, but they played just the one time. It was a 2-1 win for Vikangor. The reverse fixture coming into this. This time now over in Northern Ireland. We're going to give the this one another bit of a anticlimactic result here, 0-0 in the end, which of course we'll probably see Vikangor go through. And then finally at the bottom of this pile, we've got a whole bunch more coming right around the corner. It's quite a spicy one. Ararat-Armenia taking on Sparta Prague. The first leg, 4-1 winners. It was convincing victory for Sparta Prague. Will they get a double here? I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Ararat-Armenia, which of course will give them a little bit of hope, maybe. And of course, if we're all right, this is what the aggregate scorelines will look like. We'll see Klasovic go through. We'll see Vitas joining them. We'll be joined by Nikosia with a 7-1 win over Araz-Naxçıvan. Hammarby taking home a 2-1 aggregate scoreline over Rosenborg. Kaunas Žalgiris will go through as well, as will Banak Ostrava after a penalty shootout win over Austria Vienna. Meanwhile, Beitar Jerusalem will come back, but unfortunately Riga will go through. 6-1 winners İstanbul Başakşehir over Viking. AIK Solna will go through, as will Jagiellonia Blasztysz. They'll be joined by Agnatia Rosinha. Levadia will go through, as will Vikangor, and Ararat-Armenia will tumble out with Sparta Prague coming through in a tight one. But we're only halfway there, guys. As we get into the next one, I'm going to take a little look at Vaduz up against AZ Alkmaar. Again, folks, we're going to plough through these ones. Of course, we've got too many. It's quite a lot here still in the old Conference League. So let's get through it. Vaduz against AZ Alkmaar. Of course, we're going to go with the Dutchies here with a 3-0 win. Of course, they're just too good at this level. And of course, Vaduz out of Liechtenstein, Butchers, Bakers, Candlestick Makers. Meanwhile, the Sheriff will get a result. I'm going with them, of course, out of Moldova, taking on Anderlecht out of the Juniper League in Belgium. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win on that one. Maybe a bounce back. Is it enough to go through? I just don't know. Meanwhile, kicking it forward, Paksi. They're taking on Polissya. I'm going with a score draw on that one. I think Polissya, with a comfortable scoreline in that first leg, should see them go through. Sabah picking up a 2-0 win over Levski, Sofia. This one could go either way. We'll get your calculators out for that one in just a second. Astana taking on Lausanne-Sport out of Switzerland. That's right. Going to go with a 2-0 win for the hosts on this one. See if they can bounce back on that one. Solija against Lugano. Of course, Solija's unbeaten streak is looking pretty solid right now. Lugano, mounted to climb here, and I don't think they're going to have enough in the tank. Over in Ireland, though, we've got Shamrock Rovers taking on Balkani, and we've got a 1-2 scoreline here. Balkani taking the victory, taking Shamrock out to the equation, and probably out of Europe with, of course, that first leg to think about. Meanwhile, Spartak Trnava up against University Krakowa out of Romania. Going to go with a 2-1 win for the hosts on this one. Again, Krakowa may have the lead aggregate scoreline. I'm going to look at that in just 1 second. Brøndby against Viking Reykjavik, just going to be a scoreline right down the middle here over in Scandinavia. And again, it might be enough. I don't know. I don't know which way that, I can't remember which way that first leg go. We'll have a look in just a second. Because St. Patrick goes only one side in that one. I'm going to go with another one here. And we might even see double digits on the aggregate scoreline. 4-0 winners for me for Fixtures. Tight one though, over in Tannadice. Dundee United taking on Rapid Vienna. We had a good tight game in the first one over in Austria. This match though over in Scotland. Got to go with the hosts to snatch it. 2-1 win. Animal City against Hajduk Split. Going to go with the score draw there. Again, Hajduk Split might have the lead from that first leg in their own backyard. Santa Clara, surprise winners in the first leg. I think they'll wrap it up here. And they'll look pretty good heading into the next round of games. I've got them with a 3-1 scoreline. I think that might be 6-1 on aggregate. Maccabi Haifa also bouncing back with a 3-0 win over Reka Krushkovia. Not too sure where I got that one from, but I'm going to roll with it. And then finally, my boys Hibs should be passing Belgrade at their own backyard. Over at bloody Easterroad, that's right. So those are the scorelines for the second legs. This, of course, is the calculated aggregate scorelines. Here we go. Hopefully I got it right. It was a bit of a head bugger trying to get this one right. Anyway, so here we go. 6-0 winners. AZ Alkmaar will go through. The Sheriff will take a tumble. Anderlecht will still go through, as will Polissya from that first legged 3-0 victory. We'll see Sabah take a tumble despite winning on the night. We have a penalty shootout seeing Levski Sofia go through. Lausanne also will go to penalties, but they'll lose to Astana 3-3 to send them through. La Salige comfortably through 8-1 on aggregate, knocking out a hotly tipped, I thought they were going to do well, Lugano. Meanwhile, Shamrock Rovers also taking a tumble against Balkani. Spartak Trnava winning on the night, but losing on aggregate. Krakowa with that massive first-legged victory. Meanwhile, Brøndby will take a tumble. Viking with, again, big first-legged victory there. Besiktas 8-1 winners over St. Patrick's Athletic. They'll go through. Dundee United will join them 4-3 and 7-goal Babadazza over the 2 legs. And we also see Hajduk Split going through. Santa Clara comfortably going through there. Maccabi Haifa with a 4-0 win over Krushkovia. And then finally, Easter Road's finest. Hibernian will go through. 4-1 winners over Partizan. That's right. So, my friends, that is it. A bit of a head scratcher there. I think the next leg, it will be a play-in, of course, to see who will go through to the league phase, of course, in the Conference League. We'll be back for those very, very soon. But until then, make sure you subscribe, smash the like wherever you are. I'm done.